So, welcome back. Welcome back to Unfiltered with Christopher. This is episode 5, The Crossroads. So, if you've been listening, you know my story has a lot and it's been anything but easy. From childhood chaos to learning how to survive. I've been through a lot, but as I hit 16 to 19, things really started to spiral. The episode This episode is about choices I made, the reckless ones, the dangerous ones, the ones that I deeply regret, and but it's also it's also about learning from those mistakes and finding a way to move forward and hoping that my story helps others to avoid some of the same paths. And so yeah, let's get into it.
I fell apart 1,000 times. I'm tired of thinking it's raining, but something in your eyes is shining me. You say it's time to let go. I say, where you going with my heart? I'm so afraid of getting lost. Tell me where you going with my heart. I say, where you going? Where you going? Where you going with my heart? I fell in love 1,000 times. Could have been dreaming. It always felt so real till I woke.
So that that is 1,000 times by Russo, Ronnie Bar Hottest. Um, I I love it. I feel like that song. It goes with the way we're going to go with this episode. So, turning 16, it was supposed to mean like freedom, right? Like you got sweet 16, all that. Everybody thinks when they turn 16, everything's going to be so great. But for me, it meant diving deeper into self-destruction, right? Nights blurred together. I was drinking too much, making reckless choices, surrounding myself with the wrong people. As I was lost in the cycle, not realizing how much damage I was doing both to myself and to those around me, I didn't have long-term plans. I didn't think about consequences, and I certainly didn't believe that I could do anything different than what the cycle I was in was doing, right? Um, and what I grew up around. That's all that I thought I could ever amount to was the people that I was around. Um, it was a dark time. There was a lot going on. Every direction was something. It was never an easy day, and it never was a light choice on anything. And so many things looking back now that I wish I could have changed, but I'm thankful for because they've made me the person I am today. Um, school wasn't about learning. It was about surviving. I barely passed, but I never missed a day. There was not one day in my high school career that I ever missed. Not because I cared about my education, not at all, but because it guaranteed me food and socialization, right? That was the only reason I kept showing up. I stopped seeing school as a place of opportunity uh, a long time ago, and I still have a hard time with it. Um, it was just another part of the grind, right? Well, between 16 and 19, my little brother Kane, he started getting into trouble too. He's my youngest brother. But he'd mouth off at school, he'd get into fights, and every time he did, I'd get pissed, right? I'd be like, "Bro, we're we're on the radar." Like I was just trying to keep my head down get rid of stuff that I was getting rid of, make some money, and get out of there. And I thought I was managing things, but in reality, I was losing control. I told myself I was just looking out for myself, but deep down, I knew I was setting an example for him, one that I didn't know how to follow. I didn't want him to follow. I'm so sorry for the things that I did that shaped me to the person that I was then, and those around me that it influenced. I looked up to them. I was their big brother. I mean, for all I know, I mean, we don't talk a whole lot, but for all I know, they could still be making choices that they couldn't escape. And I hope one day they see that, and one day they see that I tried to change for them and show them a better way. So I love them, and I'm deeply sorry for the stuff that I've done. But school, I mean, I remember showing up to school and we do. It was just, it was a wild time. It was a wild time. Um, so as between 16 and 19, I turned 18. When I turned 18, I was able to donate plasma. I was donating plasma 2, sometimes 3 times a week. At that time, it felt like a way to make ends meet, but looking back, it was just a sign of how much I was willing to push myself for things that didn't serve me in the long run. I wasn't thinking about my health or my future. I was just looking at another way to keep going and keep doing what I was doing. What what I didn't know was the wrong thing. Maybe I did know it was the wrong thing. It's the cycle, right? But to keep up with the habits that were consuming me, that's what I did. And I become someone willing to put myself through anything just to numb the pain, to chase the high, you know? It's fuck I can't believe it. I thought I was in control. I wanted to be like my parents and the older crowd. I watched them party, hustle, and survive, and I wanted to do the same. I wasn't just a kid watching from the sidelines anymore. I was just trying to prove myself in their world to show that I could handle it all. But in reality, I was just following a road that led to nowhere good. When in the last episode I talked about how my grandmother passed away. When she passed away, that was it for me. I lost grip. I stopped caring. I surrounded myself with people who only fueled my downward spiral. And I hurt people that I cared about. I treated friends poorly, burned bridges, made mistakes I still regret, lost track of days. I lost track of myself. I remember waking up some mornings not knowing where I was, not knowing what had happened the night before. I was on autopilot, right? I was just moving from one high to the next, trying to escape everything, everything I didn't want to face. You know, this was a time I was also talking. Actually, I kind of missed it in the last episode, but I was talking about how I was going through that whole like gothic thing. Well, it followed, right? It followed. I'm just, I'm still kind of there, probably a little emo, maybe whatever. But during this time, from that probably 12 years on and 12 years old and on, like I really started to just discover music, and that there were lyrics that could kind of make me feel better about myself. They could make me feel like a better person. They related to my story. Some of those, they became my escape, my escape. A lot of people clown on it, but the pun clown, you'll get it in a second. But I listened to Insane Clown Posse. I listened to a lot of Alice in Chains, and those kind of became my soundtrack for my youth, right? Some Little Wayne in there too. And yeah, but their music resonated with me. They were like speaking my language. It wasn't. w- it was like reflecting the chaos and pain that I was experiencing. And I'm not even gonna lay to today. Like, I do a lot of running here as of late, but I still listen to some ICP. I go out there and I'll hit those long easy days of like 6 to 12 miles, and I'll just put on ICP and I'll just trot along. And despite what people say, it was part of who I was. And in many ways, it helped me to navigate the darkest moments of my life, and it made me feel like I wasn't alone in what I was feeling. And like I said, I'm 34, almost 35. In 2 months, I'll be 35, and I don't care what people think. Look, if I want to listen to it, I'm gonna listen to it. You ain't gotta fucking listen to it. Get the fuck out of here. You got an opinion? Yeah, keep it. Everybody's got an opinion. I don't care. I'm too old to worry about those opinions, right? um. Anyway, moving forward, continuing with the story here. Um. Looking back now, I can see how much I took for granted. You know, I took family members for granted, friends for granted, life. I took life for granted. And there were people who tried to help me, you know, people who reached out, but I pushed away. I didn't think I deserved the help. I didn't think I needed the help. I didn't want to hear that I needed to change. You know, I thought I had it figured out. But the truth is I was just running from the reality of my life. I didn't know. Um it was a rough time. There's so much more. Also, as we get through this story, I'm sure there's going to be chances with to bring some other people on the podcast, and we're going to go back into some of these stories and kind of deep dive on some of them and some of the situations and things that I learned. But if you're listening to this and you feel like you're headed down the same road, please hear me. It doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to wake up one day full of regret, wondering how many good people you pushed away. You can change your path now. I didn't think there was a way at the time, but I was wrong. Right here I am, and I'm proof of it right now. One thing I wish I had done differently was talk to someone. I was so afraid of admitting that I needed help, that I needed to make a change, that I just let myself sink further and further. If you're struggling, don't don't let that fear keep you stuck, right? There's always a way out, and there are people who care about you. Even if it doesn't feel like it right now, there are. I promise you I care about you. I hate people, but I care about everybody. I don't know how to get that point across, but that's the truth. So without further ado, we'll get back to a little bit of A Thousand Times by Rousseau and Ronnie Bar Hades, and then, you know, we'll wrap this up. I appreciate you all for listening. I hope you guys enjoy the music. Any recommendations for music? Hey, hit me up. We'll run it. All right. We'll see what's good. Here we go.
I said, where you going? I said, where you going? Where you going with my heart? I said, where you going? I said, where you going? Where you going with my
So there that is. I hope I hope you all enjoyed it. So with the closing thoughts here, looking back, I didn't I don't know how I made it through. You know, 16 and 19 weren't just bad years, they were years that could have broken me. I was lost, and for a long time I thought there was no way out, but there was, and I want you to know that there is for you. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about the 2 years leading up to my decision to join the military, the struggles, the wake up calls, and the moments that finally pushed me towards something different. And if my cousin's listening, thank you. Thank you very much. You know who you are. If you're feeling stuck, if you're at your own crossroads, know that you're not alone. Change is terrifying, but sometimes it's the only way forward. And it's never too late. It's never too late to be a better than it's never too late to be better than you were yesterday. I want to I can't I want to be the person who tells you that I wish I had heard back then. You are worth saving, and you are not beyond hope, but I'm here. And if I can tell you that now, you are worth saving, and you are not beyond hope. You can do this. So thanks for listening. And if this episode resonated with you, subscribe, stay tuned for more. And if you ever need to talk, don't hesitate to reach out. You're not alone. Until next time, stay strong, stay unfiltered.